invite you to close your prayer books for just a few moments as we get to talk Torah. Portion, Sophia, I think you might be familiar with. I'd like to begin with a question, and I really want to hear your responses. At least a few of us here in this space, and I hope that everybody who's joining us on Facebook will share your response in the chat. Maybe you're joining in later as part of our congregational e-blast or watching in our archives. You can email your response to Rabbi Daniels at nsci.org. I want to hear you. Here's your question. When was the last time that you experienced something awesome? Now, I don't mean awesome in the casual way that we use awesome as a synonym for cool or great. But I mean it in the sense of, when was the last time that you were truly awestruck? Perhaps you would describe it as a sacred moment. One week ago, do you want to give us a little nugget of what it was? Thank you for sharing that. The moment that family came together as Mom passed. The moment the guitar starts here in this space and you get to hold Mom's hand to celebrate Shabbat together. One more. Being in a synagogue in Arizona, to look out at the scenery and up to the Holy Ark, where the Torahs are kept. By sacred, I mean an instance that's set apart, a holy experience, an elevated occasion. And I could hear many of you grumbling. Come on, Rabbi. I know the concept may seem a bit lofty, even unachievable most of the time. See, often these sacred moments are easier to recognize, although seldom experienced, when it's those overwhelming moments, looking out at the mountain, standing at the edge of the Grand Canyon, experiencing the birth of a child for the first time, or another major, wonderful medical experience. But Jewish tradition reminds us that sacred moments are more than that, and they occur daily, if only we would recognize them as such. The sunrise, and when it sets, when we roll out of bed and our feet touch the ground again, or when we have the opportunity to share a meal with a friend, grateful for both the good food and great friendship. Our tradition encourages us to bring into our awareness each of these daily miracles, both small and big. And it's in our awareness that we elevate these experiences and we grow. I'm sure you would agree, it is so much harder to recognize the wonder in the regular order of things. Therefore, most of us walk around in our everyday lives closed off to the experience of these sacred moments. So they tend to surprise us when they do happen. Consider the story of our forefather Jacob in this week's Torah portion. The most awesome but totally unexpected thing happens to him while on his way to meet his beloved Rachel. As Torah tells it, with the sun setting, Jacob sets up camp. Using a rock as a pillow, he dreams the most amazing dream. Jacob sees a ladder set on the ground with its top reaching to heaven. As you may remember, he sees angels going up and coming down, and there at the top is God. God reminds Jacob of the special covenant God forged with those who came before him, promising to always protect Jacob and bless him wherever his travels take him, just as God promised his father and grandfather earlier in the book of Genesis. It's remarkable. Then, waking from his sleep, awestruck, Jacob declares, "Truly, God is in this place, and I didn't know it." There, at some random, ordinary place, somewhere between Beersheba and Haran, Jacob has one of the most eye-opening experiences of his life. Our sages and modern commentators have pored over these verses, asking, why there? The great medieval commentator Rashi suggests that if Jacob knew that it was a holy place, he never would have slept there. Later, one Italian commentator from the 16th century added, if Jacob had realized the special distinction of the site, perhaps he would have prepared himself mentally and emotionally for those divine insights. Personally, I'm glad he didn't. As one of my favorite modern rabbis teaches, I think it's precisely because Jacob was blissfully unaware that he was open to what would become a transformative encounter with the holy. Isn't that true of so many of life's most awesome moments? Sometimes our most transformative moments are so powerful because we weren't anticipating them. As the famous psychologist Abraham Maslow explained, the great lesson from the true mystics is that the sacred is in the ordinary. It's to be found in one's daily life, in one's neighbors, friends, family, one's backyard. By a show of hands, perhaps reactions on Facebook, how many consider this Shabbat service to be a sacred event in your week? Nice. That's why we do it. Tonight, or similarly on Saturday mornings, for those who attend our Shabbat morning minyan, we walked into what my teacher, Rabbi Larry Hoffman, calls the sacred drama of the centuries. As Rabbi Hoffman sees it, the prayer book becomes a sacred script, offering us our lines in the sacred narrative of the Jewish people. If you suspend your disbelief, he writes, it comes alive for you. It's probably been a while, but for many of us who have attended an opera or Broadway show, we typically don't walk in saying, I believe in this story. No, because in the end, we don't really care about the story. It's about the experience, the music, the drama. We're moved to tears because something within us is touched. Similarly, Professor Hoffman teaches, prayer is an art form that touches the human condition, but you have to enter into it and suspend your disbelief. You know what I mean, I hope. Sacred occasions, whether in prayer or some other kind of experience, have the power to transform our days, our weeks, sometimes even our lives. Modern science affirms the transformational impact of such awe and wonder. Recent studies show that experiencing these moments improves our lives in so many ways. When we experience awe or wonder, it stimulates curiosity, expands creativity, engenders gratitude, promotes a purposeful life, and even reduces anxiety and depression. One study concluded that awe leads to more kindness and generosity. Why? Across all these different elicitors of awe, researchers found the same sorts of effects. People felt smaller, less self-important, behaved in more pro-social ways. And that, argues Rabbi Pinchas Horowitz, is also how we come to know our higher power. We know God when we forget the self. We sense the thou of the divine presence when we move beyond the I of egocentricity. Only when we stop thinking about ourselves do we become truly open to the world and the Creator, where the relentless first-person singular, the I, falls silent for just a moment, and we become aware that we are not the center of the universe. There is a reality outside. And that is the moment of transformation. As Rabbi Heschel taught, feudal self-indulgence brings us out of tune with the gentle song of nature's waiting, of mankind striving for salvation. Essentially, when we allow ourselves the opportunity to experience the sacred, we open ourselves up to the new possibilities to view ourselves, others, and the world with so much more compassion and love. So doing, we transform our lives and repair the world. The Reformed rabbi and liturgist, Rabbi Chaim Stern, beautifully captures this idea in a liturgical poem that many may be familiar with from our prayer book. He writes, "Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed. And we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it." So our challenge this evening is to suspend our disbelief, to embrace the sacred, to find one prayer, one melody, one word, one moment that elicits that sense of awe and wonder for us. We embrace the sacred drama of the moment, suspending our disbelief to experience the sacred. We can welcome Shabbat with newfound joy and awe. May we each, like our forefather Jacob, wherever we find ourselves on our life's journey, open our eyes, our minds, and our hearts to the wonder all around. So doing, transform our lives, help to make this world a much better place. Shabbat Shalom.